Today, we've got members of TxDOT here to help in answering questions. From TxDOT, we've got William Samora Jr. He's the area engineer for Fort Bend at TxDOT. We also have Deidre George. She is the public information officer over at TxDOT. And I believe we have James Coach as well, who's the director of planning and design. So from the city side, we have Councilmember Rulis. We have Councilmember Floyd Emery, and I think that's it from the government side. The city staff, you have myself, Jeremy Davis. You have our Director of Public Works and City Engineer, Shashi Kumar, right over there. Then we also have some members of the Public Works team in the back to help with directing you and answering questions. We have our communications staff as well that's here. And on either side of this meeting room, we have the schematics for this project laid out. So just some brief housekeeping rules before we get started. Please make sure you fill out a form in order to ask questions. The forms are available at the front. We'll have members of staff walk around and pick them up from you. Make sure that you signed in up at the front as well so we can track how many people attended this event. And we're going to limit all the questions to 3 minutes at a time. So when you come up, you'll be called by city staff. You'll have 3 minutes, and you'll be able to discuss with the TxDOT folks. And another thing, please try to refrain from touching the microphone too much. There's going to be a lot of people walking up here. We just want to stay safe. So with that being said, I'll hand it over to Shashi Kumar, the Director of Public Works.
Thank you, Jeremy. I guess everybody can hear me. Good afternoon, and thank you for coming on a weekday. If I could kindly request everyone to take a seat and be seated so you can hear what we're saying, and there will be ample opportunities for everybody to be heard here today. I just want to start off with what is the main purpose of this meeting. The key purpose of this meeting is to hear from you, the residents and the business owners along 1092. One thing, this project has been on the drawing board for more than 10 years, more than a decade. However, the city was notified about the TxDOT intent to move forward with this project in December of 2020. We got notice the first week in December. Subsequently, TxDOT announced a virtual public meeting. Given the COVID environment that we're in, they had a video recording kind of saying what the scope of this project is, and I don't know how many of you had the opportunity to review the video. I certainly realize that we all had different priorities, and most of you were not previewed to the virtual public meeting that TxDOT conducted. Subsequently, we have updated our city council, and one of the key points that was driven by our mayor and city council was this is a very important project to Missouri City. This can affect residents and business owners. They wanted to have an opportunity to have a face-to-face meeting in a safe manner as possible, and involving our partners, TxDOT, who are attending us today via Zoom. I believe the TxDOT policy does not allow them to be in person here to tonight's meeting or to this afternoon's meeting, but we're trying to work with our IT staff in making them available virtually for this meeting. Again, the key purpose here is to describe the scope of the project, get your feedback. We have learned that there are a number of comments, some of them negative comments or negative concerns from residents as well as business owners. So this is the opportunity for you to give us these comments, for us to absorb this and see if we can make any potential changes working with our partners, TxDOT. One thing I want to reiterate is this is a TxDOT managed and driven project. FM-1092 is a TxDOT corridor, and the city maintains the signals, but by and large, this is a TxDOT funded and driven project. We have an agenda. If you have not picked up one, please do pick up the agenda. We do have a registration card, and again, we want to give the opportunity for everyone to speak. So if you could please sign up and fill the registration card, we will give you an opportunity to speak. And again, we kindly request that you limit your time to 3 minutes so we have the opportunity for others to speak. So here is our agenda. After I'm done speaking, I will transfer the mic to TxDOT folks who are present via Zoom or attending virtually. They will give us the overview of the project, why this project is needed, how did we get here. This didn't happen overnight. This project has been in the works for over a decade. And they'll also tell us about what potential concerns are there and how this can be incorporated as we go forward with this project. And they will also give you the timeline for this project. What we have done so far with TxDOT is we've been able to communicate with them and relay some of the concerns that we have gotten so far. We've been able to delay the lead date of this project by a few months, so we have the opportunity to get feedback from the residents as well as the business owners. And then after TxDOT gives you the overview of the project, we have the project schematics printed out on the walls on either side. We have staff that are intimately familiar with the project. I know each one of you may have specific concern. A business owner may have concern about access coming to the business. A resident may have concern about a potential U-turn coming down the road. So we will talk to you individually and address any concerns or questions that you may have. We have allocated between 2 and 4 today to conduct this public meeting, but if it takes past 5 p.m. for us to get your comments, I can assure you that our staff will be here to hear you, get your concerns, so we can record that as part of our comments and response to TxDOT. And again, as I said, please hold your comments. We will have a Q&A sessions where we'll ask you to come to the podium here and speak, and we will address those questions and concerns. So until then, I kindly request you to listen to TxDOT, listen to the staff, and then when it's your turn to speak, we'll give ample opportunity for you to express any concerns that you may have. I hope everybody heard me, and again, thank you for making it on a weekday between 2 and 4. And at this point, I think we have some TxDOT staff here, and let me introduce them on the Zoom call. We have William Simora, who's the Fort Bend area engineer. William, that's you, correct, on the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I think we have Deidre George, who is the public information officer for TxDOT as well, and James Scotch, who is from the district office, who is also the director of planning and development. And I want to say that although TxDOT has a purpose to do this project, sometimes it's very challenging. TxDOT has been a good partner with us so far in working with this project and partnering with us to address any of the concerns that we may have. I want to thank TxDOT for this opportunity and turn this over to William. William, it's yours.
Thank you, Shashi. And first and foremost, I want to reiterate and actually confirm everybody can hear me, right? Shashi, y'all can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess first and foremost, reiterate what Shashi and Jeremy have said is the partnership that we've been able to build with the city of Missouri City. I can't thank them enough for that. In my short tenure here in Fort Bend area office, we've become really close in terms of being able to coordinate and manage these projects as a group. So I really, really appreciate that. And then secondly is appreciate everybody's patience with the COVID protocol that we're still under. Trust me, I'm the first one that I would love to be there and meet all of the citizens and individuals of Missouri City in person as much as I could. And unfortunately, we're just not quite allowed to do that yet, but we're getting there. So thank you for your patience on that. So I'm gonna go ahead and give a quick introduction of the project, and then we'll go from there. And Shashi, Jeremy, I'll let y'all take it back over for the agenda. So, as we all know, that TxDOT does have a scheduled project on FM-1092 from the intersection of IH-69 to the intersection of State Highway 6. The scope of work is, as y'all know, and what we're here to talk about today, is an access management project that installs curb and gutter or curved medians at locations where we take away that flush median. The project is currently scheduled to let in June of 2021. As Shashi had indicated earlier in his talk, that we had originally had it in an earlier spring letting, and due to some of these conversations, we've decided as a group that it was better for the project to push it back a little bit and have opportunity to listen to the community and be able to adjust where we could adjust. So we pushed that letting back to June of 2021. The project was funded with $4.2 million worth of Cat 8 safety funds. And so for some of y'all, that is nothing more than federal dollars that are safety money to improve safety on our roadways, specifically for this job, as a part of our Road to Zero initiative. So for some of y'all that hopefully I should say, have seen a lot of our campaigning that we're doing with the department, the Transportation Commission has challenged all of the departments statewide to meet a Road to Zero initiative or have zero fatalities by 2050. So we're looking at any and all safety improvements that we can do to our corridors, to our system, so that we reduce and ultimately eliminate fatalities on our roadways. So this project is, of course, through that scope, is very important to us and very important to the department, and it has a high goal. So the scope of work, I go a little deeper into that. As Shashi indicated, it does have history that precedes me. So I had to do some looking into it myself and found that the project was scoped through an HGAC study that was conducted in 2011, for both the city of Missouri City and the city of Stafford. So essentially the entire limits, which is what this project is. It recommended the installation of a raised median to control access as a midterm solution for the upward trending crash rates. And so when the Road to Zero initiative came out, the department felt like that this was a great candidate to meet that Road to Zero goal and then fulfill this HGAC recommendation. So the project will implement that recommendation by installing concrete curb throughout the corridor to delineate those allowable left turn and U-turn locations. Some key dates, key things that I really wanted to bring up to the group. So again, that HGAC study, the final report for that HGAC study that indicated that this was the scope of work we wanted to do, or that the community, or HGAC recommended that we do on the corridor, was completed in January of 2012. So there was a technical report submitted, and it contained 3 partners that all reviewed and approved that. It was TxDOT, HGAC, and City of Missouri City. Public involvement at the time. So if you ever look at that report, there were public involvement meetings done for that study, which included several stakeholder meetings in the year of 2011 between January and September. They did have a public meeting held on 8/31 of 2011, and then finally a second public meeting held at the Missouri City Community Center on November of 2011. Now I know that that's some time back. I respect that. I understand that that's 10 years ago now. So recognize the fact that seems like a long time ago. But unfortunately, TxDOT projects do sometimes take that sort of schedule, if you will, and go from planning to implementation. So it's not out of the ordinary that the public meetings were done 10 years ago. Environmental clearance. So we did receive environmental clearance in February of 2021, which is what allowed us to then commence on with the letting this year. And finally, we expect, with a June letting, we expect that we'll be complete with all of the construction in the winter of 2022, about a 9-month-long job. So I know that's a lot of information and a lot of high-level data. I just wanted to share as much of the key information as I could. I want to reiterate that the department is here to work with the community to do what we can to obtain both of our goals, community satisfaction, and also the highest level of safety that we can on this corridor. So we look forward to working with our stakeholders, and then of course with the City of Missouri City to deliver this project in the right way. And I guess I should have went on to also introduce, Deidre is on the call with us as well. And we also have some environmental team members. I saw Sue Tice was on here. She's our environmental lead. And then James, our Director of Transportation and Planning and Development, he's on here as well. So we've got a lot of resources here today. Hopefully we can help answer questions and just go from there. So Shashi, Jeremy, that's what I've got for project introduction. If y'all want to take it back from there.
Thank you, Willie. If you could just one more time, just reiterate the need for this project and the safety purpose behind it.
Sure. So again, the need for the project is, or the safety, let's start with that. The safety that we're going to achieve is by delineating access locations, we will effectively reduce our collisions, whether they be intersection T-bone collisions, rear-end collisions. And so the need for the job is to delineate access points so that we can drop or reduce our collision rates along the entire corridor. Hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you, Willie. So now we're going to move forward with the question and answer session. So the way that this is going to work, while we're doing the question and answers, we're still going to have city staff on either side going over the schematics. We'd like, if you are interested, to start over here. That way we could sort of focus our efforts. In the meantime, we'll also be taking questions. So we're going to have a couple members of city staff come up, and they're going to call people out in the order that we received the comment cards. So.
Hey, Jeremy, sorry to interrupt you. Can I say one more thing? I just want to reiterate or add. I'm going to do everything I can to answer your questions today. For those that I don't have answers for, as always, we will follow up. And that's why I've asked the city to document a lot of these questions so that we can follow up as a group on a side note and get some of these things answered that I may not have the answers for. So I just want to reiterate to the members that are there, the community members that are present, I'll do everything I can to answer your questions. If there's questions about something that we need to maybe do differently or study a little closer, we're going to take that and we're gonna run with it and see what we can do to solve those problems. So just wanted to let everybody know that.
Thanks again, Willie. So like I said, we're going to move forward with the question portion of this meeting. So without further ado.
And these are in no particular order. They're just random how we just compiled the forms. So first up, we have Robert Gardner. You have 3 minutes.
3 minutes? Okay.
Come on up to the microphone, please.
Okay.
No, I don't need it. Okay. My question is, based on the introduction that we heard, will our voices have any impact upon this planning? I said, based on the introduction that we heard, will our voices have any impact upon the planning?
Sorry, I can't see you, but I'm assuming. And Jeremy, you may have to give me a thumbs up or a confirmation when the question's asked and ready for a response, so I know. But yes, sir. I mean, we're going to do everything we can to achieve both goals, as I said. We'll evaluate every possible solution and look at ways that we can achieve both the community's requests and maintain a level of highest level of safety. So will we be able to fix everything? No, I'm going to be realistic with you, no. But we're going to do everything we can to try to accommodate and resolve these concerns in the best way possible.
Did you have any further questions? Yes. So we're going to try and use that microphone so that we're going to pass it around.
Okay. Also in our neighborhood, it's a street which is called Kumar Valley. I would suggest that we open up the back of our neighborhood, which goes from Kumar Valley to El Dorado. And for the for the homeowners that's living there, that would give us better access. We would have better access to our neighborhood. Uh-huh. Yeah. Open up, Doncaster turns into Carmel Valley. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
We don't have a one-way in, one-way out. It's already, we have so much trouble getting in and out as it is. We have to almost both our cars to let us out. But we don't have no other intersection Now, we've been in that house for 26 years, and it's getting worse and worse every day. And then you come up to the freeway there, that's crazy. And we don't have a one-way in. We've been there 22 years. That's crazy.
So what we're saying is the back of our neighborhood, which is Doncaster. Doncaster turns into Carmel Valley. Carmel Valley could be open all the way up to El Dorado, and we have a better access. Is what I'm saying. You know, rather than just coming in from the front, from 1092, we can have access through the rear. So it'll be two ways in, from Carmel Valley and from 1092. Okay. Oh.
Thank you. You're welcome. All right.
Did you want to take advantage of ask your question as well? Now, you're welcome to come up.
All right, so just to reiterate, what...
I don't have nothing else to add. You say y'all started this in 2011. Why come we just not hearing about it now? And then y'all say y'all had a public meeting. We got a public meeting now, and now y'all going the decision, to me, it looked like it's already made. But like I said, we have one way in and one way out. And that's crazy. That's all I have to say.
Okay, so everyone, just to reiterate, make sure you speak into the microphone. That's how they'll be able to hear you at TxDOT. And the other thing, please refrain from touching the microphone. So, and the other thing is, make sure you state your address as well as your name when you come up to speak. Thank you.
All right. The next person to speak is Loretta Drummer.
Can I turn the mic this way, face the audience?
Right, questions are being directed at TxDOT.
Yeah, turn this way. He can probably answer questions. He's facing this way.
Okay, I am in
Ma'am, you have to speak into the microphone facing that.
facing this way.
Yes.
Okay, yes, my name is Loretta Drummer, and I live on Palm Grove, and I just want to actually just reinstate what the two neighbors just said. I've been living on Palm Grove for about 16 years, and as you said, there's only one way in and one way out. And if we're going to the left, I've had to wait in excess of 5 minutes or more coming back from Cartwright to try to get back in the neighborhood. It's even worse during peak hours, peak traffic hours. In the morning, during school hours, same thing. If one of my grandkids was staying with me and became ill and I needed to rush them to an emergency room, it is no way that you can have an emergency and have to sit in your car 6, 7, 8 minutes to wait to get on the other side of the street. And so I'm just conflicted about what you're saying about now I just discussed the time aspect, but as far as you all saying the safety aspect, I don't see how that's safe, because when you come out and try to make a U-turn at the school entrance, actually the streets the lanes aren't wide enough on the opposite side to make a U-turn, because cars are not going to stop and let you make a U-turn. We cannot get from Palm Grove to the school lights and make a U-turn. You can't get in that lane fast enough. Too many cars are coming. Also, when we are coming back into the neighborhood, if we have to go to Township, make a U-turn, you can't make a U-turn in that private property where those residential assisted living homes are. So you have to go to Township, turn right, go all the way down about a block before you can make a U-turn and come back. So what you all are doing for us is really putting us to even a larger disadvantage than what we have now. And I am going to piggyback what Mr. Gardner just said. Why, if this plan has been, you all been proposing it since 2011, 2021, we're just finding out a couple of months before you are supposed to start putting the mediums there. So why would you wait 10 years to let the neighbors know? I know people for sure that have told me, I would not live in this neighborhood because it is too hard to get into and too hard to get out of. Now it's going to be even harder. Our home values will depreciate because who would want to go through all that trouble to buy into a neighborhood? Thank you.
I want to pause here for a moment and see somebody from TxDOT. I know, Willie, you've heard that the Palm Grove Drive access is one of the key issues. I know you had a couple of residents comment on it. So I want to pause here and see if you have any feedback or any response or what we can do to accommodate their concerns. So I'm going to pause here. Willie, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can, Shashi. And sure, in the last couple of weeks, that intersection in particular has been a hot topic, and is one that we're looking at how we can use different, maybe we can make some adjustments to our plan so that it's safer. Maybe safer is not the right word, so that it operates differently. I mean, we feel like what's in the contract or in the plans as it shows now is easily the safest solution, but there might be, we let it operate maybe under its current condition or in another fashion to help with some of these concerns. But I do want to touch two things. So the HGAC study did indicate in the 2011 findings that Palm Grove Road was a location that needed some additional attention. And one of their recommendations was an alternate entrance. Now, of course, the department, I can't speak for what communications might have happened prior to me, but the department and local partners, whether that be the city or the county, need to think about how that gets implemented. And of course, as everybody here knows, doing something of that nature is not, there's not state right of way. It's not state. TxDOT wouldn't come build a second road, for lack of a better term. But that was definitely a solution included in the HGAC study. But for us, for this project, I will say that we are heavily looking at alternative solutions and what we can do for the Palm Grove entrance. Regarding the public involvement, I don't know, Sue, I don't know if you might have any comments to that, or James, if you're available, if you might have any comments to that as far as the time frame gap.
Hey, Willie, this is James Koch. I'm the Director of Transportation Planning and Development for TxDOT. These studies are typically taken up by the locals, and they generate a lot of different plans. There's usually stuff that can be done short term and other stuff that requires a more long term look in terms of coordination and things like that. So it's not unusual in these studies and things for them to be done, and then it may be several years later before actual implementation takes place. The short-term fixes they try and do in a shorter window, but obviously the things that take a little more coordination and more funding is another aspect of it. In this particular case, this project was waiting on funding, and the state has a current effort right now we call it our Road to Zero. We're trying to get zero accidents on state facilities, and so our commission has dedicated $600 million to safety projects around the state. This was selected as one of those. As a location that we can use those funds on to improve the safety on this corridor. So that, like I say, there is no set time frame to answer the question. we do what we can within the funding that we have and when the funding becomes available. So that's why this one has come up, and we're trying to get it implemented as soon as possible for safety considerations.
Thanks, James. Appreciate that.
Okay,
Shashi,
all right, so we're gonna,
there you go.
thank you, William. So we're gonna get back to the question and answer session, and there's gonna be a slight change. I was just told that it's actually better if the mic's faced this way, so when you speak, you're gonna face this way. You had it right the first time, yeah.
Next person to speak is Alfreda Gilbert, and just a reminder, it's 3 minutes.
I'm Alfreda Gilbert, and I live on Doncaster Drive also, in the one-way in, one-way out. Safety has always been an issue coming out of that neighborhood. But what drives me is that now you tell us you knew that was an issue, but did nothing about it. It took this median going in and all this information coming out. So that means the neighborhood was never informed that this was even a consideration for our neighborhood safety. I commute every morning, and it takes me anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes to get out of the neighborhood. I've timed it. And as Mr. Gardner or someone else said, you have to bogart your way out of the neighborhood. And then you become the target of hostile drivers. Now, I have seen several accidents at High Peak, and they will continue to happen at High Peak because you cannot control human emotions. And I am concerned that my commute time will increase because I can't get out, and as I said before, get all the way over to make a U-E to get back to Highway 6. That is unacceptable.
Next up to speak is Rebecca Hawthorne.
My name is Rebecca Hawthorne. I also live on Doncaster, and I'm not going to repeat everything that all of my neighbors have said, because they're all right. I am simply asking if any consideration has been given to installing a traffic light at the intersection that would be blinking yellow, except at high peak traffic times or when someone tripped the light. That would allow us access out left or right and allow us to access back in. I realize we're landlocked, so by private property and the golf course and the creek, so there's really no way to build a second access point. But I am concerned that forcing residents who are returning to the neighborhood, coming southbound on Murphy, to go down to Raoul Wallenberg and make a U-turn, that's a very high accident area. So looking at the proposed, I saw a break in the median at Raoul Wallenberg. Oh, and that may be the point. I was just looking at the break that I saw in the median, and either way, what you're asking people to do is make a U-turn in front of lanes of traffic that are traveling 50 miles per hour. That's the exact problem that we're trying to solve by putting in medians, is to prevent people from having to make U-turns in front of multiple lanes of traffic traveling quickly. So that's where I'm asking for.
So Willie, this may be a question to you. This is Shashi here again. I think the question comes around on the Palm Grove Drive exit, traffic exiting on 1092 northbound. Can we provide some kind of a controlled signal or access light where people can scoot over to the left lane to safely navigate a U-turn. I think that was the question that one of the residents asked. If you could touch on that subject, please.
Yeah, Sean, it's a great idea. It's a great thought. Of course, I'm not in a position to say yes or no just based off the geometry and what it looks like out there today. But it's a very good suggestion. And as I said, we're looking at all kinds of alternative solutions for that intersection. And I'll share that with our operations group. And that's maybe there are some unique or alternative ways that we can add some of those structures. So again, I can't make any commitments. I definitely have to do some homework on that, but I think it's a good suggestion.
Up is Kermit Summerall.
I really don't know what I'm going to say other than to repeat what's been said, but on a current situation, even currently now, there's a sign that says, please do not block the intersection. And you might as well take that sign, I don't know what to do with it, but either at least put a blinking light or something, but people do not honor that sign. And then all I can do is just echo what everybody said before. It's impossible what you're proposing and asking us to put up with. Impossible. That's all I can say.
All right. Next up is Anthony Marioli.
Good afternoon, Willie. I'm Anthony Maroulis, the Mayor Pro Tem and also the council member for the district that literally lines right down the middle of Murphy Road. And thank you for your time today. I'd like to ask you to postpone this project for two factors. Number one, the local economy. Just for a fact, we, Missouri City, dished out $1.1 million to businesses to get over COVID. That's 256 businesses that asked for relief. And in fact, many businesses closed. Just one the other day on Highway 6. Installing the median at this time will only harm businesses and in an also very fragile environment. And those businesses are already on the cusp of closing. This will definitely close them down. So our businesses today really need relief, not additional barriers. So that's factor number one. Factor number two, I've worked with some of the traffic study information that we received from RPD and reviewed some of the data points. I want to review those with you. In 2020, the incidents dropped from 135 to 90, so we're definitely heading in the right direction from a safety point. In reviewing the top factors, they're on an upward trend. It was stop-and-go signals, so people aren't even paying attention to stop-and-go signals. Second of all, the only item in concern was speeding, right? That one was up, but RPD has that under control, and they're actually down by 33 incidents. So based on the traffic study, I ask that you postpone this project. Stop-and-go signals, failure to turn on reds, failure to yield, disregard stop signs and lights are the top factors. And by adding more turns, you're just adding to the problem. So I ask that you postpone this. Now is not the time. Thank you, sir.
All right. Next up is Wayne Stevens. Wayne Stevens. Wayne Wilcox.
Good afternoon. I'm Wayne Wilcox. I work for a company called Samuel Bryan Investments, and we own a commercial property just north of the intersection of Cash and Murphy Road. I understand that's in Stafford, not Missouri City, and we certainly appreciate the safety aspects along the road turning, and I hope that TxDOT will work with this residential neighborhood to make their access safe. At the same time, we hope that you also work with the business owners. At this particular property, we have approximately 23 businesses that will not have access southbound from Highway 59. And this is going to severely impact all of those businesses. As the gentleman said, we've already got a really tough time with COVID. Would hate to make this the nail in the coffin that runs some of these businesses out of business. We hope that we can get an ear at TxDOT to work one-on-one with them maybe to address our access issues. Without the access, southbound on Murphy Road is going to really impact the whole business park. As a result of that, if our tenants go out of business, the buildings are going to go vacant. If we're unable to release them, it's going to affect our property tax values, which will affect our property tax values. And anyway, so I would like to be able to obtain the name of someone at TxDOT that we can reach out and talk to and address our issues. Thank you.
Does anyone from TxDOT want to address those points or questions?
Yeah, sure. And I may lean on James a little here as well. But first off, for a point of contact, you're more than welcome to start with me as the area engineer. I will, again, just as we're doing anywhere along this corridor, take your concerns into consideration and do what we can to, again, achieve the goal and balance the need. Regarding the previous comment, and James, I'm not sure if you want to field that one. I mean, talking about cancellation and postponement of the job, I mean, essentially we're doing what we can to achieve the department's goal from a safety perspective. And so discussions about the project, how the project gets to fruition and whether it continues on would happen at a much higher level. So James, I'm not sure if you want to address that at all or.
Sure, Willie. Yeah, I mean, basically, we have to take advantage of funding opportunities like I mentioned before. This particular project has what we call Road to Zero safety funds on it. And so we'd like to utilize those funds to implement this project. Those funds are only available through this fiscal year with TxDOT, which runs through this summer. And so, if we didn't use the funds on this job, we would lose them for our region, basically. And so, we would like to, move forward with implementing this project at this time. And, part of this meeting here is we are addressing comments. We're listening to comments and we will address what we can. But at the end of the day, I've been doing this for over 30 years. Every time we do one of these projects, not everybody's going to be happy with the solutions. But we do the best we can for the traveling public, getting the biggest bang for the buck. But where we have seen these implemented before, we had gotten some initial resistance from them. But once you get through construction and it starts operating and people get used to it, we get compliments on these projects. And people do recognize the improved safety and they're not seeing the volume of accidents that they had previously. And so, I know there's a lot of concerns out there in the community right now. We're here to listen. And Willie is our frontline guy here. I mean, he's the guy that's out over this area. I'm just here to support him from our district operations. But that's where we are today.
Thanks, James. Appreciate that.
Next up to speak is Megan LaCrue.
Hi, my name's Megan LaGrew. I live on Carmel Valley. My main concern is the intersection on Palm Grove. And your initiative wants to be is a road zero with zero fatalities. The information that I got from Missouri City PD just yesterday says that there's been one accident at our intersection in the past year. So if you want it to be 0 fatalities, why are you going to force us to go to intersections that already have more collisions at them? That seems counterproductive. No, it is counterproductive. And then the blinking light that had been suggested, I agree with that. There's also a thing that's done in other places. I know it's in Katy. I believe there's one in Sugar Land. It's called a staggered intersection, and it can involve more than one street coming into an area. And since we are so close to the traffic light that is currently there, possibly we could have a staggered intersection, which would make it safe to do right and left turns in and out of our neighborhood. I also know that there's a initiative that says that neighborhoods must have more than one exit. Since we do not, and since one is not feasible, do not limit us or stunt us on our current one. That's just should not be an option. And I agree with delaying the project till we can get more data and see how it can be more feasible to help everyone. So those are my points.
TxDOT want to address any of those points, or we'll keep moving?
I just reiterate, and again, I appreciate the comments, reiterate that we as a group recognize the challenges at Palm Grove Drive and have actively started looking at various alternatives and solutions to fix that. So I can appreciate that. Of all the comments we've heard today, we've heard generally all of them have been Palm Grove except for the one at Cash Road. I'm making myself some notes here. And again, I just want to tell everybody that we recognize that there are some challenges there that we're looking at how we fix. I also would like to say I've heard a lot about the alternative intersection, or I'm sorry, alternative exit. I just want to make sure that y'all recognize that the department, TxDOT, while we permitted the access location, we didn't choose it. So we're doing what we can to make sure that it maintains a high level of safety, and we're going to work with the community to try to resolve these concerns. But I just want to bring that up. We didn't pick where the driveway came. All right, that's it.
Next person to speak is Ursula Sneed.
Good afternoon. My name is Ursula Sneed. I'm the HOA president for Park Lake Townhomes. Our closest intersection will be Lexington and 1092. We have 2 driveways to get into and out of our property, one for phase 2 and one for phase 1. If you put that median there, I can guarantee you 80% or more of those residents who live in those townhouses would have to go up and then do a U-turn. I've been in that community it'll be 20 years this July. We've not had a major accident. We've had like a fender bender or 2 since I've been there, but I can guarantee you not more than 5. We're gonna have to go out of our property, go to the right, then go up a little ways and do a U-turn. I guarantee you 80% of the residents who live there will have to do that U-turn. Right now, we just go out and go to the left and go on about our merry day. If you put this median there, it's gonna be a problem for not only residents who live there, but also for people going to school, going to the grocery store, and things of that nature. Like the gentleman said before, I think you guys need to revisit your study because there has been significant growth within the last 10 years. I don't think that was taken into consideration. The people that are speaking up close toward the entrance going to Walmart, I can't remember the name of the street, but that I've been guilty of not noticing the sign that the gentleman noticed, he referred to earlier. That needs to be bigger and brighter, maybe some more lights, I don't know. I'm not into road construction or engineering or anything like that, but I will say, like the young lady said earlier, there's not been a lot of traffic accidents, maybe at the major intersections of, say, for example, Lexington and 1092, or Cartwright in 1092, or maybe further up Township in 1092. But these medians, I think, are going to create more accidents due to safety. And Texas is about safety, whatever that means, safety, this project is not safe. That's my 2 cents.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat, or could somebody repeat for me the subdivision? I didn't catch it. I was making myself some notes so I can look into it. Jeremy or Shashi, I don't know if you could hear me, but could y'all repeat?
Yes. Here, Willie. So the subdivision, it's the turn-in street is Palm Grove Drive. I'm sorry.
Park Lake Townhomes. It's in the section, it's right off of Lexington and 1092. We're next door to a church, and we don't have like a major intersection, but we're closest to Lexington and 1092.
Thank you. Is the main entrance there Calgary Circle? I just want to make sure I'm in the right place. Does that sound right?
Our main intersection is 1092 and Landmark Drive is one of them.
Okay.
The other one is 1092 and Shire Valley. We have one way in. That's it. There's a lake behind us, so we can't go anywhere else.
Okay.
All right. Next person to speak is Joseph Jaggi.
Hello, my name is Joseph Jaggi. I live at 3659 Doncaster Drive, so I'm yet another person coming to talk about Palm Grove. As the lovely lady before me mentioned, I know the study was done in 2011, I believe by, was it Gunda Corporation or something to that effect. But traffic the traffic volume on Murphy Road has changed drastically in 10 years. I've lived at the residence for 31 years myself. And traffic just gets worse and worse every single day. It's already difficult to get in and out of the neighborhood at times. But the biggest issue is how backed up Murphy Road gets. Under the current proposed solution, we are asked to just go make a U-turn. It's simple, right? Except for the fact that during high traffic times, which currently, due to COVID, may not be as high as they regularly are. However, during normal high traffic volume on Murphy Road, to get from Palm Grove to Township Lane can take 10 minutes. Furthermore, you get to Township Lane, get in the left turn lane to U-turn, traffic going both ways is backed up. Commonly what happens, despite it being illegal, is people in between the intersection, because they don't want to wait for their light to go green again, so they just go on up, and then they're blocking the intersection, meaning we cannot U-turn. Furthermore, the roads are very narrow. We have ditches. We do not have flat, land after our road. It is difficult for certain vehicles to make U-turns. Imagine a delivery truck trying to deliver a mattress, someone with a trailer trying to go and do lawn work. They cannot make these U-turns. So what is their alternative from TxDOT? We'll just go turn on another road, turn right here, turn left here, go around U-turn. So your solution for our neighborhood is to even further inconvenience us. Furthermore, it has been brought to my attention that certain things are being done in this project because that's by TxDOT's, that's our manual, this and that. Well, according to TxDOT's roadway design manual, as of July 2020, Chapter 3, Section 2, the use of raised medians should be discouraged where the roadway is too narrow for U-turns. I think any of us who live here and drive here on a regular basis would argue the roads are too narrow for U-turns. We are not part of the Murphy corridor that has 3 lanes each way. We only have 2, and they're very narrow. Also, we have been told, well, you have to have a minimum size turn lane. That's in our manual. You have to do that, right? Same roadway design manual, Chapter 3, Section 5. Median turn lane, parentheses, left turn lanes, says, turn lane shorter than the lengths given in Table 313. Get to the next page. May be acceptable on some low-volume highways. I understand Murphy is not a low-volume highway, but let me argue the spirit of that exception. is for low-volume turns. The turns into Palm Grove are low volume, same as the turns.
3 minutes is up.
Okay, that's all I have to say. You heard my concerns.
All right, does anybody from TxDOT want to address those questions and concerns?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate your research into the roadway design manual, and you're correct that there are certain guidelines and data that we have to follow, that our designers have to follow when implementing these projects. And so I'll take a look at some of those locations where we did have to use exceptions. There are locations on the roadway where we had to have shorter turn lanes, shorter bays. And so some of that stuff is just strictly engineering judgment to just try to determine what the best solution is for a congested corridor. So I do appreciate that. And regarding the U-turn comment, I'll have to look into that a little bit more. I'm not really prepared to comment on that in particular, but I do appreciate the information.
Next up is Leslie Jaggy.
Yes, I'm Leslie Jaggy. I live on Doncaster Drive. I'm the one that spearheaded this for our neighborhood. Very few of us received letters on this information. I've been following it since December. It was very difficult to get information until this came out. I'm basically, to put on record, I'm going to read the letter my neighbors got. Most of the city council has received, Jeremy's received, and yes, TxDOT, you also received it. It says, I am an original owner of a home in Quail Valley Thunderbird, West Courtyard Homes, 39 years. We have approximately 145 homeowners. For the entire 39 years, our neighborhood, as everybody knows, one entrance, that's it, that's all we have. And as years have gone by, it's become increasingly more difficult to enter and exit our neighborhood. Everybody knows that, we're not arguing that. But we feel like the implementation of this medium is going to just compound these issues big time. I agree, it should not be there. But as it stands, one of the major issues for us is getting out of our neighborhood because of the backup of the lights. Those drivers are reluctant to let people in and out, and they frequently block our intersection. They're a little more likely to let you go left than right, because if you're going right, you're in their lane. They don't want you there. When speaking to a city representative, we were informed that the solution was to make that U-turn. I have tried numerous times to get over there to make a U-turn. You can't do it. Now, I did watch somebody yesterday, because I'm out there taking pictures, and also the ones turning left off of Wallaburger, and I watched a little car do it. She was a little tiny car. She got across. 3 cars go through that light that's there right now in front of Plantation Settlement, and it was very difficult for her to make that turn. And she pretty much was over onto the side. Possibly when we see cars sitting in the ditch, maybe that's how they got there. I don't know. One of your other things they had talked about is the biggest intended solution for us and what people are going to do. We're going to go into Quail Valley Middle School and we're going to U-turn. And that is what a lot of people do now, because it is impossible for us to get across 2 lanes of traffic to that 3rd lane. And even if we got there, which I'm still not sure how we're going to get it according to your map, we almost need to come out of the left side of Palm Grove as opposed to the right side. So that's going to be a little bit of issue. I know Quail Valley doesn't want us doing that either, neither does Fort Bend ISD. We've spoken to lots of our residents, and they've brought up many of those concerns. So that is something I've addressed with multiple people. Another concern is entering our neighborhood, and they said we'll put a mountable curb so fire trucks can get over. I'm still not sure if an ambulance can get over it, or all police cars, because I don't know if some people have cars or everybody has an SUV type. I'm not sure about that.
Sorry, ma'am, your 3 minutes is up. TxDOT, would you like to address our concerns or questions?
Sure. So again, just reiterate that, and maybe what we need to do, Jeremy and Shashi, is I'll make a commitment that once we continue or finish this evaluation that we're doing now, that we sit down with members, whether that be the homeowners association or somebody with Palm Grove, and show them the solutions that we come up with, I just reiterate that we recognize that that's a challenging intersection and that we're looking at ways to change it, to modify it, to adjust it so that it operates, again, as efficiently and effectively as possible while still being as the highest level of safety possible. So sorry, I don't have any other solutions at this point, but that's where I'm committing that we're looking into it. So.
Why is it not allowed to stay the way it is? Why can't you have a left turning for our neighborhood as well as a left turning for 1057? We will never back out that road. If they need 130 feet for that turn, we're not going to back out that road. There aren't that many people at one time coming in. You just need to be able to get in. If you look at the way it's painted at the moment, that would work. You can still put your curb if you gotta put a curb, but at least we can get in.
So I could barely hear the comment, but I will say that one of the alternatives, and maybe this is what you're saying, I kind of heard a little bit of it, but one of the alternatives that we are looking at right now, and again, I want to be upfront with everybody. I'm not making a commitment that this is the solution we're going to use, but one of the alternatives that we are looking at is to essentially follow the yellow line that you have out on 1092 today, where you have a shorter left turn lane to Plantation with a short left turn lane to Palm Grove, and opening up the median to where you can still turn left out. So while it's unique in the fact that it doesn't, again, we're talking about engineering judgment here, because the access management policies and procedures that the department, TxDOT, uses would cut that driveway off. But we recognize there's challenges there. That's one of the solutions that we're looking at real heavily. Our district engineer, who is my boss and James's boss, is very committed to making sure that, and myself, I'll speak for myself, but our boss, Eliza, is very committed to making sure that the community knows that the department is not here to make this a challenge for y'all. So we're looking at those solutions, and that's something that I hopefully will be able to come back to you with some good news. Whether it goes to letting and then we change it in the field, or we get it fixed before it goes to letting, we are researching those solutions. So I'm sorry. Hopefully that was answered the question. That's a little bit more indication of what we're trying to do.
Really, it sounds like everyone agrees with that.
So Willie, your proposal to keep the lines the way they are now, that's what we agree with.
Okay. Let me see what I can do, and let's plan to follow back up here in a couple weeks, maybe a month. But give me a little time to make sure it's ironed out, and we'll let me see what I can do. Okay.
Well, thank you all. You all are really passionate and concerned for your neighborhood and for this roadway as it to be a success. So we really appreciate that. Let's hear from the other comments, and after that, we'll talk to you about the next step that the city is doing in partnership with TxDOT. We'll give an opportunity for our elected officials to speak after that. I know the mayor is here as well. So let's get through these questions, and then we'll tell you what the next steps are. Thank you.
Next person to speak is Floyd Emery.
Thank you. My name is Floyd Emery. I'm councilman for Missouri City District D. A large portion of 1092 borders my district. So, but I'm also really interested in some of the other businesses that are in District C and District A. One of the things I wanted to convey is that the primary goal is for safety. And it appears that some of the safety numbers that were pulled were from 2011. Well, we pulled some numbers from our PD off their accident reports, and I'm here to tell you that, first of all, to confirm there was only one, in 2019 and 20, there was only one accident at Palm Grove. So, you know, that's, every accident is, you know, is important, and you'd like to eliminate those. But what we're seeing is that many of those accidents are created by left turn on yellow at an intersection, right turn at a stoplight, and when you look at those items, it represents over 30% of the accidents that have been created in 2019 and 20. The other accidents, it's hard to tell whether or not a median would have precluded that accident. So, you know, that's just, you know, something that you have to work at and make sure that what you're doing is in fact promoting safety. But I would also say that when you start diverting traffic down to traffic lights to make a U-turn, you're going to set up a situation where you're going to have more accidents that are going to be created. You're not, you know, that may be a solution of getting in and out of a business, but it's not the solution of making the roadways safer. To me, that's all that's doing is setting up another potential accident to happen on these heavily traveled roadways. And I went through and do I only have 3 minutes? I need to hurry. Okay. Some of the U-turns that are being considered is Hampton Drive, Township Lane, Plantation Settlement at Missouri City Middle School, Eldorado Boulevard, 5th Street, and Independence and Lexington. Those are all major thoroughfares that carry a lot of traffic, and you start doing U-turns at those locations, I think it's a recipe for disaster.
Sorry, sir, but your 3 minutes is up.
My 3 minutes is up?
Yes.
Okay.
I think you did enough answer in a minute.
Yeah, please, I need more time.
Next up is Skip Belt.
I've been a resident here in Missouri City since 1976, and I've gone through the build out of Cartwright Road, and then later on the Esplanades medians in 2234 Texas Parkway. And the one thing that has not been mentioned too much is the value of medians for beautification of our city. It's very important, and many of the objections today are valid as it relates to convenience. When it's a real inconvenience, I would probably be standing up with them. But we balance certain things, because most business owners would love to have a cut right in front of their business. And that might be just objecting to any kind of medians. I think that we will benefit greatly in having medians beautified with trees. But we also have to do a balance of what is convenient for neighborhoods, particularly ones that are somewhat landlocked. And I'm sure that will be considered. But I really encourage the city to investigate going a step further. With the medians, with the trees, we should also consider underground utilities and covering big ditches. This is what we did in 2234. And I will tell you, in my opinion, the corridor 1092 is not a beautiful entry to the city, and it will change this area greatly, improve property values and the ambiance of the whole community.
And I appreciate that. And Jeremy or Shashi, I don't know if you want to share, y'all had shared with us some of those comments, and we've been able to incorporate a lot of that, or some of that, I would say, not necessarily finished product, but preparation for finished product of landscaping in this project. So do y'all want to go over that?
Thanks, Willie. Thanks for reading my mind. I think Willie is right, and I think the gentleman that spoke is right too. One thing what we have been able to do with TxDOT is to see if there are any opportunities for landscaping the medians here. Obviously, we understand there are a number of concerns, especially the palm grove concern. If we can address that, but part of it, what we're doing with them is to landscape some of the medians where we can. Part of this project, we are looking at installing what we call irrigation sleeves, so at a future date, the city can come and do some landscaping, just like the way we've done on Texas Parkway. So TxDOT is willing to work with us on that, and thank you, sir, for bringing that up.
Next up is Max Montague.
I'm Max Montague. I've been in Missouri City since 2004. I grew up in Texas City. I'm familiar with a lot of farm-to-market roads and the median concern. I assume TxDOT's proposal is based on data that shows this is needed. They've not really presented any of that to us. I think it's unreasonable for them to say that zero fatality or zero accidents is what they're striving for. That's just propaganda. I mean, you're never going to get there, like the lady said, about people that just don't know how to drive or don't care how they drive. I went on the TxDOT GRIS query site, and it shows a total of 1,692 accidents on FM-1092 between 59 and Highway 6 in the 5-year period 2016 to 2020. 701 of those are intersection related, which they didn't really give you any data on the medians. I don't think they know. I'm very pragmatic. I'm in business. I don't have a lot of patience or opportunity for patience for just, I'm going to be honest, okay? I think it's because they have money they have to spend. And they go look, I know for a fact they'll go looking for these types of projects. And they'll find one. And we just happen to be one of those. I don't have a personal stake in this. You people that do, I understand, but you guys are just 1/50th of the problems between Highway 6 and Highway 59 that everybody's going to have, and not everybody knows about this. I have a few questions for the gentleman with TxDOT. How many cars per day travels this route between Highway 6 and Highway 59? What's the accident rate on the route? How many cars per day or per week? What is the accident rate attributable to the median problem that they think there is? I don't think they know that. How many of these accidents is the median change expected to prevent? I don't think they know that. What is the increased accident rate you expect to be attributable to the change you're proposing? I don't think they know that. Until they know that, this project should not be done, okay? The gentleman talking about the medians, I agree with him if they can show us it improves the safety and decreases the accident rate, but the issue with putting the landscaping, I've seen many medians going in this town on Highway 6, there is no landscaping. They look horrible after about 6 months, and if we put landscaping in, TxDOT isn't going to maintain it. You and I are going to pay to maintain that. I'm not opposed to it, but that's the reality of the situation right now, okay? Thank you.
Next up is the owner of Kitty Academy.
Willie, so I know that was a lot of questions right there. Do you all have any of that data, or could we get that and then we could communicate with you later about it and get it to the gentleman?
We can share that data, not a problem at all. But I want to reiterate the fact that the study that was done through and with community involvement, and I understand that it was done in 2011. But when the gentleman stated that, and again, that's personal opinion about our Road to Zero initiative, but I can tell you that our administration statewide is pushing the department and the engineers that work for the department to really strive to design for safety. And so our Transportation Commission has asked all of us that work here to push hard to look for ways to fix problems we have on corridors where we see trends and needs, right? And so, yeah, I can share that data. One thing I want everybody to remember is we talk about crashes and how many crashes are not going to happen. And essentially what you do with the access control medians is that you eliminate conflict points. You eliminate the ability for a driver that pulls out of a driveway to cross the oncoming lane of traffic, which he could be hit. You eliminate the driver, or you control, I should say, eliminate's not the right word. You control the driver making last minute decisions that he needs to pull into some location and getting rear-ended. There are multiple types of accidents that you see under those types of conditions. And so it's important to understand that it's a global problem. It's a global issue that you're trying to resolve by adding these control points. And if you'd like to read more about that in our access management manual, TxDOT.gov, you Google access management manual, it specifically references how control of access, mobility, control of access are related so that you have a safer corridor. The more driveways you have on a corridor, the lower the mobility is and the higher risk you have for incidents. And then vice versa, the less driveways or the control of the driveways that you have in a given distance, the higher your mobility is and the safer the corridor is. They're directly related. And that information's been consistent in my short career. And so I just wanted to bring that up. James, or I don't know if you have anything to add to that maybe?
No, Willie, I think you made very valid points. I mean, our commission is focused on safety. They want everybody within the department to focus on safety. We put it into all of our projects. We put it into our funding. We're trying to do the best we can with the funds that we have to make sure that everybody gets home safely. That's our goal here. So,
thanks, James. Back to you, Jeremy.
All right, thank you, Willie. Yes, so we have access to the study that they gave us for HGAC, and we can pass that along. That is public information.
All right, the next speaker, again, is the owner of Kitty Academy.
How you guys doing? Sorry, this is a little short for me, so I hope you can hear me. I'm ex-military. I'm also in the oil and gas industry as an engineer. So I've been in industries that are very, 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 very safe. So believe it or not, I actually agree with medians. I like them. They do control traffic. However, the goal here stated was that it's for safety. I disagree. They clearly are focused on the money. They have money available. So my question is, first of all, it's like personal. With my business, I'm already still struggling to make sure I bring traffic flow in. And this is going to severely restrict that traffic. I need just a little bit more time to recover from COVID, and that will help me with that. Now, the other side, the main reason I'm actually here, though, is because I drive a bus down to Quail Valley Elementary School, and every once in a while, Quail Valley Middle. And believe it or not, my problem is Palm Grove. That's going to be a significant issue. I think that the state should spend a little extra time and figure that out. Because honestly, I think they've made their decision. And I think I'm not a resident of Missouri City, but I think you guys may want to step up and contact your state representatives. I think that's the next step. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm at 3811 Raul Wallenberg, Kitty Academy. You'll see me. I'm that big building with the playgrounds. And then as far as the medians too, just so you guys don't have to count them like I do, like I said, I like beautification medians. There's only 2 with vegetation in it in Missouri City. Only 2. The rest of it is all concrete. So there's no beautification there, and concrete medians are ugly as heck. Sorry, I digress. Anyway, my thing is I think that for my street, Raul Wallenberg, I hope that the state took an opportunity to see if a stoplight could go there. I think that there's some serious issues there as well with people turning left already. I mean, I've been pulled over for doing a U-turn there, believe it or not, and I did a legitimate U-turn. So I hope the state has looked at a stop sign, but the state seriously needs to take a pause. I don't care if they have the money or not, and seriously think about that Palm Grove, because I'm going to be driving my bus one day with kids in it, and someone's going to be coming across trying to do that U-turn there, and I'm going to get hit. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Next speaker is Rhonda McCadden.
We live on Carmel Valley, so another issue with the Palm Grove entrance. And I agree with the lady that said we need some kind of signal there because, like she said, it's already almost impossible to get out. In fact, most of the time you have to start inching out in front of the traffic to make them stop, even though there's a sign there. And unfortunately, I have to say, I've even had the school buses block my entrance, which, I mean, that should definitely be a ticket because that person should know how to drive. So I'm concerned for them and, you know, the children that they're driving around, that they don't, you know, that they're not better drivers than that. But yeah, it's almost impossible to get into and out of our subdivision. We're going to have something. You know, the gentleman did say that they're possibly thinking about leaving us a small turn lane. We need that in order to get, you know, in and out of our subdivision. Thank you.
All right, the next speaker is Wayne Stevens.
Is that the last one?
All right, looks like we covered everybody who signed up to speak. Is there anybody that wants to speak that has not signed up? Come on in, madam. I think you can use this mic.
Hello, I'm Vicki Pierce, and I live on Doncaster. Okay, so if I agree with not doing anything yet, because it is a headache for everybody as it stands now, but if you start your construction, we're going to be there for 30 minutes trying to get out, and for the moment, I think you still should get a bigger sign that says, don't block the intersection, and have lights on it, and maybe a double line on the street saying stop here when the other cars are stopped on red, because I think there's only room for 4 cars, and people just want to sit in front of you and act like you're not there. But when school was in session, one of the other issues we had was, even though the cars were stopped, and sometimes there was a school bus, you know, sitting right in front of us, but the parents would drive on the shoulder to get into the school, and that complicated the situation. So we need a sign for that. Don't drive on the shoulder. Anyway, I have sat there as long as 10 minutes trying to get out. And I've been there since '81. And I was there when it was a 2-lane red dirt road. So I remember. Anyway, if you're not going to start yet, at least get the sign or put a 3-way stop or something so that we can get on with our lives. Thank you.
All right, the last speaker that signed up is Bob Schrager.
How you doing? I own the Shell station on the corner of Cartwright and 1092, and my biggest concern is safety, and that's all I've been hearing today, is they're going to be taking away an entrance from me again, and I have, at least twice a week, I have an 18-wheeler filled with 8,800 gallons of gasoline. Now, you're going to let me know, this man sitting here, I want to hear how he's going to get that truck into my station. And we're all talking safety. Now, do you want me to take that truck down Cartwright into a neighborhood? Do you want me to take it down El Dorado or Palm Grove and turn that 18-wheeler around so I can have fuel for my customers, or do you want to put me out of business? Thank you.
Well, thank you, everyone. I think we got the questions from everybody who wanted to speak. Willie, you want to take that question?
Yeah, sure, and that's okay. I understand where you're coming from, and I appreciate the fact that it's a concern of yours. The Shell, as Jeremy and Shashi could probably attest to, the Shell is another one of the locations that we have looked at and we are continuing to look at as alternatives there, as what we can do and how we continue to service those driveways. Being an area engineer with the department, I deal with developments all the time, and specifically fuel stations, so I recognize that you're constantly looking at how you get your trucks in and out, how you service your station, and how you service your customers. So do I have an answer for you today? No, I don't, but that is one of the locations that was brought up to me, and that we're working through various solutions for.
Thanks, Willie. And as I said, most of these concerns that you expressed today, the staff is aware of it, has been relayed to TxDOT. You folks being here and reiterating this to TxDOT adds value to that. And we thank you for your time and your comments and input today, and everybody that facilitated the meeting. You probably want to hear what the next steps is. Before that, I know a couple of the council members spoke. We do have the mayor here. I want to give the mic to the mayor and see if the mayor wants to make any few comments. After that, we'll talk to you what the next steps are and how we keep you informed moving forward on the status of this project. Thank you. Mayor?
How you doing? First of all, I just want to thank everyone for coming and expressing your concerns, and I did hear a lot of suggestions back and forth. I have a few comments. While I do agree with medians, as Skip talked about, if it was showing the beautification of that, it would look nice. And I remember being on council when we had Highway 6, the medians that was set forth. Only near on District C is the only place where I can see some shrubs that is there. When you go travel towards Sienna, you don't see that at all. So as someone talked about irrigation, ongoing maintenance, there's a lot of issues there. As to what I'm surprised by is the timing of this project. And the reason for that is we are just coming off, not fully yet, of a pandemic and a COVID that basically killed our businesses. And now get these medians being put just because we have money. I don't think that is the right answer. I think we need to, safety is a concern to our police officers, and to our staff, and to all of those that do this. But for our city council, one of our jobs is to make sure that our traffic flow, our concerns of safety, especially around school and neighborhood, as well as businesses. Missouri City has been a pro-business, and that's the way we like to keep it. We want the business to come here. We are going to do everything we can to support that group. Getting into the rationalization of how many accidents and with your numbers and all of that, but I think this project needs to be put on hold. And I do agree with the gentleman that talked about the state rep, contact state rep. I will be doing that with our city council to make sure that we delay this project. I don't believe that we need this project at this moment, and I totally feel that while the safety is being looked at, not only Missouri City, you have Stafford, you have all of those along that corridor that needs to be addressed. I think the townhomes, I know exactly where that is. Of course, I'm not going to talk about one neighborhood that's affecting Palm Grove, but it is a project that we need to look at. The last thing I want to do is ask the city council and ask Shashi Kumar to take a resolution to put a complete hold on this. While I think we need to do something to make sure this works, I would urge and I would ask of you, based on everything that you heard today, to come back to Shashi Kumar and that team along with city council to give us a different output besides doing this I saw the cutouts that you have, and that is not really helping the situation. So I would ask each and every one of you on TxDOT, while we want to work and partner with you, we understand the safety concerns, but as a city, we got to look out for our citizens and our Missouri City businesses. Thank you so much. Absolutely. So as you can see, Stacy Walker is our Director of Communication, and I'm sure we will make that available. Our state rep throughout this region is Ron Reynolds, along with others. And I want to take this also opportunity to thank the two council members that are here, which is District D council member. We have Floyd Emery, and District C, and Mayor Pro Tem Anthony Maroulis for taking the time to come here to listen to the citizens' concerns and hear what they're saying. So this way, when this topic, Shashi, do come up, I'm not saying that we're going to force to kill it, but I would like to see some type of improvement versus what we have today, which it does not offer any solutions. Absolutely.
We have a threat. If y'all want to go along with this program, y'all need to give us open another road going down Pro Valley, it's a bridge there where you can drive your golf cart across. Maybe you can open up that and make it a road. That goes to Hampton. We need more than just one way for y'all to put us in this kind of situation.
Absolutely. I mean, I think I would hope that this is the first step, and you can answer to this if Willie and the TxDOT team are going to come back, and then we'll have another session that we need to have with our residents and our businesses before we proceed with anything. I will be in touching base with our state rep, and I will ask the council to support me on that, and then also to perhaps if the solution that y'all come back with is not adamant, then I would like to pass a resolution to put an end to this. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Again, thank you, everyone, for being here. I said I'll talk to you about the next step. We have our TxDOT partners here. We know that there are about 4 hotspots: Palm Grove, the Shell gas station, the townhomes, and if I'm missing anything, Jeremy, the one by the Brandinius, which is the commercial retail, the township. So those are the 4 hotspots. So we will see how we can best resolve with TxDOT. If we are not able to, I know you've left some comment cards. We'll be in communications with you, and we probably will have to come back and have another public meeting of this sort to see how we can move forward if we decide to move forward with the project. But in the coming weeks, we'll be working with TxDOT. I know Councilmember Henry wants to say a few words, so Councilmember, the mic is yours.
Thank you. One of the things I wanted to ask TxDOT to do is not only just look at the 2 or 3 really critical areas on 1092 that impacts our businesses or our residents, but also to take a look at some of the other businesses. Our churches are impacted. I think even our banks are impacted by the medians. So, I would hope that their survey of what their impact of the medians would take into account all of the businesses and residential areas along 1092, and that's not to say that Palm Grove isn't extremely important, or Lexington Commons isn't extremely important, but there are other areas that if we're going to do this right, and if we ever have come to the point where we put in medians, we need to make sure that we've done a good, thorough analysis of how they will impact our businesses and our churches, like I say, and our residential areas, because our lifeblood is businesses, and we can't afford to put another impediment in front of them where they could either suffer or even go out of business. We can't afford that. We have enough of that already. So I would ask TxDOT to do a more thorough analysis of where the medians would have an impact on Missouri City's businesses and residents, but also to take a look at their traffic data. Our PD has information that they could share with TxDOT as far as the number of accidents, where they were at, were there injuries. So I think all of that needs to be updated. So we've got a better look at exactly what the current situation is and not what it was 10 years ago. So thank you.
Hey, Willie, thank you. I know it's hard to sit behind that chair and listen to all the reasons why we don't want this. Certainly the council members and the mayor, we've been in that position. I, along with the mayor, will work with the city, work with the state representative to squash this. I think it's time to delay it. If you guys have money, what I'd like to see you guys do is figure out how to make traffic flow better. It's a nightmare. We can't get people up and down Murphy Road, so why don't you help us flow traffic? Thank you.
Shashi, one last thing, hurricane season is coming. One of the things that do happen if we get hit is gasolines. So I would like somebody to answer that gentleman who owns a gas station, how he can turn around once this is done and be able to get the trucks in here too. So let's look at that. I mean, and this is not as a joke, this is as a serious issue of how do we get things flowing when there is an emergency. And that roadway is narrow to begin with anyways. It's not nowhere near as Highway 6. So that is a concern. That is a concern to me because a lot of people use that intersection to go in and out to put gas. So that was I don't know who that was, but that was a very valid question. Thank you.
So thank you, Mayor. When we saw the schematics that was proposed, one of the things that popped up in our mind, or when we looked at the drawing, was the Shell gas station. We've had a number of conversations with TxDOT on how to address that issue. I would be happy if I can say here, I found out a solution. No, we don't have a solution, but that's something we're working with TxDOT. It would require some kind of modifications on 1092 as well as on Cartwright to address that issue. Now, the history here is this was a farm-to-market road which had less traffic. We are now looking at traffic 30,000 plus both directions. A lot of development projects have contributed to this traffic. So it's not a farm-to-market road anymore, although it's called a farm-to-market road. But with the amount of traffic volumes that we have to find a happy median, just like we did on Texas Parkway, where we were able to work with some controlled access improvements as well as enhanced mobility. I understand there are a number of concerns here. We're not there yet, but that is the challenge, to find an happy medium, something like Texas Parkway, where we can do some medium improvements at the same time improve the mobility. And that's the million-dollar question here. And I know Willie is nodding his head there. We will be back to the drawing board to see what options we have and what we can do. And we certainly hear what the residents have said, what the council and the mayor has said. But again, we will remember the Shell gas station in the interim to see what kind of improvements we can do to accommodate truck traffic there. Not only Shell gas station, but every other concern that was raised here must have answers to All right. Yeah, I know Willie and TxDOT has been at the receiving end. Sorry, Willie, we put you on the spot, but I want to give you the last, the response. I want to give you the mic to see if you want to address any of the questions and what our next step moving forward is.
Sure. No, and I really do. I appreciate the community's passion, mayor and council members. I do appreciate y'all's position and recognize, the process. I want to let y'all know that James and I will follow up with our leadership and make sure that our leadership is aware of the concerns associated with the project. And again, we just look forward. All of our goals is to deliver a project that again keeps the corridor as safe and as sound as possible. And so thank y'all for everybody's comments. I'll do everything I can in my power to deliver the right job. And keep the common goal being, mobility and safety, right? And so I've gotten, in my short tenure here with Fort Bend, I've gotten to know Shashi and Jeremy very, very well, and I appreciate everything that they're doing to support TxDOT's efforts, and we're just trying to do the same. So not at all. I'm happy that I was able to be here today and listen to y'all and take some of these concerns to heart. So I appreciate that. And with that, we will follow up. As always, I'll let you know the next steps for us. As I said, we'll meet with our administration. We'll continue to evaluate some of these alternatives. Shashi, I will follow up with you and Jeremy as soon as we know we have some good solutions or at least some decisions. And then communicate that through city staff so that y'all can share it with your leadership and as well as the community. And we'll just do what we can to meet that common goal.
Thank you, Willie, and the TxDOT team. Thank you, everyone. If you have any further questions you want to hang around and discuss with the engineering members of the team, you're welcome to. Otherwise, I'll just hand over the mic. Before that, I just want to thank a few people who facilitated this meeting, especially our communications team that did the outreach, and a lot of my engineering colleagues and public works team members that helped us put this meeting together. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Councilmember Emery.
Thank you. I just want to make sure that we have as an option on the table is to leave it alone. That's an option. So let's don't eliminate that as a potential. We all want to see progress, but let's don't take a step backwards on our businesses. Thank you.